Welcome back into another episode of Hefe's Cabin. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. But let's go ahead and get right into the episode. We are doing an episode for the Sunday football review and as well as the Monday Night Football previews with some Monday Night Raw preview as well for my wrestling fans at the end. And it has been a wonderful Sunday thus far. That kicked off early this morning, so a lot of you guys have probably been up since the sun even before the sun even came out to kick things off in Dublin. Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers held the Vikings off 24-21 in Dublin. The Vikings tried to make a fourth quarter comeback, but they came up short. Kenneth Gainwell had a day with 19 carries for 99 yards and two touchdowns on the ground. DK Metcalf also showed up for the Dublin crowd with five catches, 126 yards of Aaron Rodgers' 220 passing yards. He also caught Aaron Rodgers' only touchdown pass as well. Carson Wentz lit the field up with 350 passing yards. Justin Jefferson had 10 catches for 126 yards, while Addison had four catches for 114 yards. But that just was not enough to get things done against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers will be um, one of four teams next week that will get a bye week, and the Vikings will go over to London to play the Browns next week. Um, so that was the Dublin game. That was early in the morning for all of the football fans. So let's go ahead and get into the 1 o'clock hour games now. Spencer Rattler and the Saints put up one hell of a fight against the Buffalo Bills, but ultimately they fell short 31-19. Josh Allen threw for 209 yards, two touchdowns, and one interception. But it was James Cook who really had the day with 22 carries and 117 yards with one rushing touchdown as well to keep the Bills perfect on the season at 4-0. The Bills will look to continue this dominance next week when they play their divisional rivals on Sunday Night Football in the Patriots. While the Saints, they will look for their first win of the season next week when they play the Giants, who got a huge win this week that I'll get into later on. In the next 1 o'clock game, C.J. Stroud and the Texans picked up a much-needed victory against their divisional rivals Titans, who fall to 0-4 on the season. Cam Ward only threw for 108 yards. He threw one interception in this game, which was his worst start for thus far in his NFL journey. C.J. Stroud, he threw for 233 yards, two touchdowns on his way to shutting the Titans out 26-0. Titans head coach Brian Callahan is now 3-18 in his second year as their head coach, and he is definitely on the hot seat. They will try and look to improve things next week, and he will look to get his fourth win as head coach when they take on the Cardinals. While the Texans, they will travel to Baltimore and try and seek their second straight win for the year. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he came up big for the Lions with seven catches, 70 yards, and two touchdown passes um, from from uh, from Lions quarterback. And then Jahmyr Gibbs, he also carried the ball 15 times for 91 yards, had one touchdown on the ground on their way to a 34-14 victory over Joe Flacco and the Browns. Flacco threw two interceptions in this game, and he just couldn't get anything going after a pretty strong start. Lions cornerback DJ Reed did get hurt and carted off in the field in this game and is expected to miss some time. The Browns will travel to London next week to try and pick the pieces up against the Vikings, while the Lions will uh, will travel to Cincinnati to take on the Joe Burrowless Bengals. So they will have a pretty solid, easy matchup next week since Joe Burrow is unfortunately hurt and out. Otherwise, this would have definitely been a circled calendar game for a lot of people. Um, the Falcons, they looked like a whole new team this week with quarterback Michael Penix throwing for over 300 yards, two touchdowns, and one interception. Drake London had eight catches for 110 yards, one touchdown, but it was Bijan Robinson who had a day. He had 17 carries for 75 yards, one touchdown, and four catches for 160. I'm sorry, for 106 yards to go with it. The Commanders down Jaden Daniels and wide receiver Terry McLaurin struggled to get things going early. They tried to make a late push, but Atlanta was able to hang on. Washington will travel to LA next week to take on the Chargers. Uh, while um, we'll definitely be monitoring to see if they can get both their key players back in Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin. While the Falcons, they will be on a bye week for next week, and they are riding high, and they are back at 500. So congratulations to them. Um, Baker Mayfield's magic has finally ran out as the Eagles beat Tampa 31 to 25. After a dominating first half, the Eagles went up big, 24 to 6. But Baker Mayfield and the Bucks they rallied in the third and fourth quarter. But that Philly defense ended up hanging on towards the end. Baker did manage to throw 289 passing yards for two touchdowns and one interception. Running back Bucky Irvin had a solid day for Tampa without Mike Evans, 15 carries, 63 yards, five catches, and 102 yards with one touchdown to lead the Bucks in receiving and rushing yards. Rookie wide receiver Emeka also stepped up huge in Mike Evans' absence as well with four catches for 101 yards and one touchdown as well. The Bucks will look to get back on track next week when they travel to Seattle. On the other side of the bracket, Saquon was kept in check with 19 carries and 43 yards, but he did manage to get a touchdown run. Jalen only had 130 passing yards, but he was able to get two of those. I'm sorry, two touchdown passes within those 130 yards. And with that, they will return home next week to take on Denver. So we'll see what happens there. After a dominating win last week against the Falcons, Bryce Young and the Panthers, they got embarrassed 42 to 13 by the Patriots. Drake May threw for 203 yards, two touchdowns. Stephon Diggs finally had his breakout game of the season with four catches for 101 yards. With a little over 8 minutes left, Bryce Young was sent to the bench for Andy Dalton. The Panthers have a lot of questions but lucky for them, they play a team next week that has a lot of questions of their own in the Miami Dolphins. While the Patriots will have a huge Sunday night football test against their division leading Buffalo Bills, who have started the season red hot at a perfect 4-0. In the last 1 o'clock game, Jaxson Dart gets his first NFL start of his career, and he picks up a major win against one of the NFL's hottest teams in the Los Angeles Chargers. On the Giants' first drive, Jaxson Dart took the Giants down the field and at the end rushed 15 yards right up the middle to put the Giants up 7-0. And you knew something in the air was different and something was special about this kid, Jaxson Dart, from that moment. The Giants did manage to hang on after a long battle, 21 to 18, despite giving up 128 yards to rookie running back Omarion Hampton and 98 yards on eight catches to Quentin Johnson. The Chargers will look to bounce back next week at home against the Commanders, who could possibly still be without their star quarterback Jaden Daniels. While Jaxson Dart and the Giants, they will continue to try and bring this momentum in their matchup next week against New Orleans. In the first 4 o'clock game, we had the Jacksonville Jaguars. They took the ball from the 49ers four times, two interceptions, two fumbles, on their way to a 26 to 21 shocking victory. Brock Purdy returned this week after a two-game absence, throwing for 309 yards, two touchdowns, and two interceptions. McCaffrey was his leading receiver and his leading running back in this game with 17 carries for 49 yards, six catches for 92 yards, and 100 and one of Brock Purdy's touchdowns, but that wasn't enough to get past the Jags defense. The 49ers will have a short week as they look to rebound on Thursday Night Football against the Rams. Trevor Lawrence didn't play so well in this victory, only throwing 174 yards, but running back Travis Etienne definitely had a day for himself with 19 carries, 124 yards, and one TD on the ground. The Jags, they will play Monday Night Football against the Chiefs next week. In what will be definitely an interesting matchup. In the next 4 o'clock game, Daniel Jones and the Colts suffered their first loss of the season in LA. Jones threw two costly interceptions while Stafford threw for 375 yards and three touchdown passes. Puka Nacua is on a tear this season with his fourth straight consecutive 90-plus yard game with 170 yards on 13 catches for one TD pass. Tutu Atwell also sealed the deal for this game with his first one and only catch for 88 yards and the game-winning sealing touchdown for the Rams. The Rams will have a short week as they will be playing on Thursday Night Football against the 49ers, and they will look to keep this momentum rolling. While Daniel Jones and the Colts, they will come back home to take on the Raiders. In a back and forth game, it was a blocked field goal that would ultimately seal the deal for the Bears, but that wasn't the only good defense the Bears displayed as they picked off Raiders quarterback Geno Smith three times on their way to a 25-24 win. However, running back from the Raiders, Ashton Genty, definitely had the best game of his career thus far in the loss with 21 carries, 138 yards, and one TD on the ground with two catches, 17 yards, and two passing or two TDs from the air as well to combine for three total touchdown passes. As well, the Bears, they will have a bye week next week, but the Raiders, they will travel over to Indy to take on the Colts. In the last 4 o'clock game, Patrick Mahomes improves to 5-1 all time versus Lamar Jackson and a 37-20 victory. Lamar got hurt towards the end of this game, hurting his hamstring, and he did not return. Hopefully, he is able to come back next week as they look to rebound against the Texans. Derrick Henry finished his first game of the year without fumbling, but he didn't do so well with 8 carries for 42 yards. Patrick Mahomes threw 4 touchdown passes with only 270 passing yards, and welcome back Xavier Worthy with 8 catches. Well, I'm sorry, with 5 catches for 83 yards, and he was also the leading running back for the Chiefs with 2 rushes for 38 yards. The Chiefs will look to get over the 500 hump for the first time this season as they play Jacksonville. So then we also have two Monday Night Football games as well. In the first Monday Night Football game, we have a very interesting matchup in the 0-3 Jets and versus the 0-3 Dolphins. The Dolphins are favored at home in this matchup, -2.5. While the over and under is at 44.5 points. Justin Fields will return this week to take on Tua and the Dolphins in a much needed win for both of these franchises, as they are both looking to avoid the 0-4 hole. Justin Fields has played Tua and the Dolphins one time in his career in a losing effort when he was on the Chicago Bears. However, Tua is a perfect 6-0 versus the Jets. The last time the Dolphins started a season 0-4 was 2019. One season after that, the Jets they started 0-4. Somebody has to this year, or could we get a tie here? My best bet in this matchup is definitely over that 44.5 points. I expect both of these teams to put up some points. These defenses have kind of been slacking pretty much most of the year, and I believe in both matchups last year they went over this total. So I expect it again. As far as a winner in this matchup is definitely hard to pick. With Justin Fields coming back, that's definitely a boost for the Jets. But I just can't see any way the Jets can win this matchup as well as the Dolphins. The Dolphins have looked god awful. But with the Dolphins being at home, I'm gonna go with them just because they're the home team. If the Jets were at home, I would go with them. But both of these teams are definitely terrible. Um, I, in one world, there's definitely a tie that could happen here, but I'm gonna go with the Dolphins as the outright winners in this matchup. And we also have a second game as well with the 2-1 Bengals versus the 1-2 Broncos. The Broncos are favored 7.5 points, and the over and under is at 43.5. In my personal opinion, the Denver Broncos are just a few plays away from being a perfect 3-0, but are unfortunately under 500 right now. The Joe Burrowless Bengals, they travel to Denver after getting dismantled by the Vikings last week. Can Jake Browning flip the script this week and pick those pieces up against Denver? Um, or after losing two straight games, will Bo Nix and the Broncos finally get back on track? My best bet in this matchup is the Broncos running back J.K. Dobbins to get over that 64.5 rushing yards. I believe the Broncos will maybe not dismantle uh, the Bengals like the Vikings did last week, but I definitely believe they will cover that spread and beat them by at least 10 points. I think the Broncos, this is their week to get back on track. So I'm going to go with them to win this game as well. And I definitely like the J.K. Dobbins over the 64.5. I believe he will be running that ball as they should get up in a solid lead in this matchup. That is all I have for Sunday's football and Monday night preview. So we are going to go ahead and get over to my WWE section of this broadcast. I appreciate everybody that came by for the football stuff. So make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button down below. I'll hit you guys later on in the week with some more content. And for all my wrestling fans that came down to the end of this broadcast just for this very portion, or for everybody that's already been here, I appreciate you guys and welcome on in. For everybody that's just getting here, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button down below. And let's go ahead and get into Monday Night Raw. Right now, confirmed, we have Io Sky and Rhea Ripley set to appear to address the attack from the Kabuki Warriors last week. Asuka finally turned on Io Sky as well. We knew it was coming with Rhea Ripley. There's no real like shocker there. But with Io, there's not much of a shocker, but there still is a shocking fact as they were definitely best friends. So it's unfortunate to see here. Can't wait to see what comes of all this. But we are definitely getting a tag team at some point down the line. I guess at Crown Jewel or maybe on Monday Night Raw at some point. We also have Bailey versus Raquel Rodriguez confirmed. Last week she was in a match with Roxanne Perez. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with Lyra Valkyria here this week as well. We saw Bailey push her down last week. So I'm curious to see how they continue this story with her and Bailey. We also have a title match set for this week with Dominic Mysterio and Rusev. I'm curious to see if they finally have Rusev. I'm sorry, Dominic lose this title. I believe that Rusev is definitely somebody that can hold a championship and deserves his championship in the WWE. So definitely going to be something to look forward to. However, there are rumors that Dominic is supposed to be facing John Cena at some point, and John will win that championship. But those are just rumors. There was also rumors that AJ was going to beat Dom, and AJ and this match coming up, AJ versus John, was going to be for the title. But obviously, that's not the case. And rumors are just that, rumors. So in this matchup, I'm gonna say Rusev might actually win this matchup unless somebody comes and interferes. And then the final segment confirmed is another tag team, huge tornado tag team match with Jimmy and Jey Uso versus Bronson and Bron Breakker. I highly and 100% expect LA Knight to get involved in this matchup, cost Jimmy and Jey Uso the victory here, and set up the Vision to win. There is a part of me that believes LA Knight will be turning in his good guy persona, and he will be joining up with the Vision. Just not sure when and where this will happen. But I expect the Vision to pick up the victory here in this matchup, and Jimmy and Jey to lose this, and Jey to continue his feud with LA Knight. I'll hit you guys with some more, of course, with the Raw review, and we'll get into SmackDown later on this week. We also have a pay-per-view coming up soon, so we'll definitely be getting into that as well, and some reviews from Monday night with Thursday night coming up as well. So make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button down below. See you guys down the road, and just remember, this is FA's Cabin, and I'll see y'all next time.